Okay, I believe we are live. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Stacy. I'm a marketing director for Wholesale Warranties, and I am going to give you an introduction to two people who don't really need an introduction, Marc and Julie of RV Love. I think we all know and love them. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Stacey. It's awesome to see you guys again, or to see you, not guys, sorry, you again.
Well, I feel the same way. It has been too long since we last chatted with you. And as always, you guys know so much about the RV lifestyle, have so many tips and tricks to share. You are the owners, operators of RVlove.com. Can you tell us a little bit about the journey of RV Love and what people can expect when they visit RV Love?
Sure. Well, yes, there might be some new people here that don't know who we are. So hi, and feel free to, if you've got some, can people put questions in the chat, Stacey?
Yes, absolutely.
That would be great. But I'm Julie, this is Marc, and we actually just realized 9 years ago, this past week, we hit the road full-time in an RV. We sold our home, hit the road, and went traveling full-time for 6 years and 3 months. And then during the pandemic, life changed unexpectedly, and we ended up with a home base, which is where we are now, back in Colorado near Marc's family. And so along the way, we've been sharing as RVlove.com through our blog and YouTube channel and social media, lots of articles, and our real passion is helping educate and inspire people to learn how to do the lifestyle and to make the road easier ahead. And so we've written a couple of books. You can see them behind us there, Living the RV Life and RV Hacks. And and
we still do RV. We just aren't part-time now. We used to be full-time for 6.5 years, and now we part-time. In fact, we just had a big trip away this winter down into Southern California, which was a lot of fun too. So,
but we'll get to all that. But yeah, that's where you can find us at RVlove.com, and find us everywhere.
Awesome. Yeah, so you mentioned it was about 3 years ago that you went and got a home base during the pandemic. I think that was about the last time we talked to you. So there's a lot to catch up on and learn about. So you are still based in Colorado. How is that going? You guys loving it?
We love Colorado. I mean, I lived my whole life in Colorado before we hit the road, but and it was interesting because when we left to go full-timing, I was thinking, I don't know if I'll come back to Colorado as great as a state as it is, because I didn't like all the growth. And then we came back to a different area of Colorado,
much less populated,
much less populated, and then it just really, we love it, and we love that different style. And then also having the part-time travel just gives us an opportunity to understand that style travel even more,
right? Intimately. And different RVs, and which it's interesting when you're a full-time RVer, in that world, we know so many full-time RVers, and it's such a little, I don't know, it's not a cult, but it's like this little group where you just really have a connection with other full-time RVers and extended travelers. And so, switching to part-time was a big shift for us, like personally, especially as our business is around RVing and helping people to RV. And there was a bit of nervousness around that, actually. Like, what does this mean? Do people think that we're not relevant anymore? But but it took a while for us to emotionally process it, because we were not planning on doing this, Stacey. This was completely unexpected. We were not planning on getting off the road. In our first book, Living the RV Life, it is in print. We will RV in another country before we get our sticks and bricks. And we were wrong. But who could have predicted 2020 in the pandemic, right? And I know it changed a lot of things for a lot of people, a lot of full-timers, but what we've come to realize is we actually have an ability now to appeal to a lot broader audience of RVs, because the vast majority travel by RV for vacations and just part-time and, a couple of weeks a year sometimes for some people. Right. So it's actually been great for us to downsize rigs as well and have an experience in different size rigs, different type rigs, and, help people in different ways.
But I feel like these last couple of years have also just been a huge boom to the RVing. I think it's got a whole new awareness of the travel style because of the pandemic. And I think that's been a fun thing to watch these last couple of years as well.
It's exploded.
Absolutely. I think it was definitely an unexpected thing for everyone, but gave you such a new, unique perspective to be able to be a part-time RVer. And like you said, get those different rigs, because like with anything, if you're kind of in your normal routine, there's just some experiences that you miss out on. And so being able to have those new perspectives has been great. Would you say since the pandemic that there's anything major about RVing when you are out there traveling that's changed, or are there more part-time travelers?
I feel like there is. I mean, these last couple of years now, I do feel like it's tapered off a bit from the peaks that we had. But for a while there, it was more and more challenging to get to sites. You had to have reservations further out, or being willing to, you could still get them, but you just had to be more flexible. You had to be, oh, I'm not going to stay in that campsite, in that campground on that holiday weekend. I'm going to stay in this area for this time, and, you know, just be open to checking out a few additional campgrounds, more flexible in your schedule and where you stay.
But we're definitely seeing, you know, when we started out in 2014, this last week, like 9-year anniversary, we were the youngins in the campground, right? In our 40s, early 40s. And so we've met a lot of people, retired age people, that said, oh, you're so lucky you're doing it now at this age while you're young and you're healthy and you have the mobility to do that, because, you know, it's great to do it whenever you can. But what we really are seeing is a huge increase in the demographic, much younger people doing it. A lot of families, I think that lockdown, you know, that wasn't fun for anybody. And especially, you know, those with kids and trying to work from home and homeschool them, and the challenges that come with that. And then realizing, what, you meant I can be out there in an RV at a state park or a national park, and I could be doing this safely in my own contained environment of the RV, and keep my family safe and be comfortable and have fun as well. And I think that, what was fun, I think, is that when we discovered the idea of full-time RVing, we first learned about it in 2011 from another couple, and it was like, wow, you can live in an RV. And that was a big thing for us back in 2011. Fast forward to 2014, we hit the road. Fast forward to 2020, we're doing it 6 years now, 9. 6 of those full-time, but still now part-time. But it was just realizing, it took us back to our own thinking at that time, because, you know, you get used to something and it doesn't seem so different anymore. But it took us back to, wow, this really is such an out there idea for a lot of people. And that's fun. So I think seeing the families, we see a lot of families. There's a big full-time family community out there, and they travel together and support each other and learn together. And that's really wonderful to see, because everyone's just getting to experience the outdoors and nature. And we've seen the national parks, of course, super popular as a result. But you don't have to go to national parks to have pretty special experiences, but they are pretty special.
Sure. Yeah, I think everybody kind of got that new perspective, and seeing RVing as this safe way to travel, where they maybe just never would have done it before. I have a daughter, and I can definitely say, like, travel is kind of a big thing when you have kids. Like, you want them to have those new experiences, but you also, like, an overnight trip to grandma's means I have to fill my car to the brim with things.
Sure.
So, like, having your stuff in your RV, having basically your home with you, maybe even your pet, it makes for like a really unique way to travel. And I love that so many people have kind of had their eyes open to that possibility.
Yeah, excuse me.
So you guys have been.
Mark just had to go and take care of the fluff nugget, speaking of kids.
Sure. So hey, that's another change. We'll jump right into that. The last time we talked to you, I don't think that you had, a little furry pal. So you've been traveling with a dog. How has that been?
Yeah, well, we actually started in 2014 with our dog Coda, and unfortunately we lost her about 5 months into our travels. So that was really emotionally tough. And so it took several years for us to really feel ready for another dog. But, you know, we moved into a house, funnily enough, it had a doggy door. I'm like, it was a sign. Maybe we should get a dog. So we started looking at all of the shelters and everything within a 200-mile radius. And of course, everybody, which is wonderful, that so many dogs that, needed homes got adopted during the pandemic. Marc has allergies, so we were kind of really restricted. And we did want, a dog that was small enough. We got a very small house and we had a very small RV. It had to be the right size. So we did locally find this pup, and his name is Sunny. He's a mini golden doodle. You can follow me on Instagram. When I get around to it, I post funny little photos and videos. It was like being like constantly sharing photos of the fluff child. And he's fun. He's now just turned 2 last month, and he's a lot calmer now. except for that moment, but
He's
he's
still well traveled, 19 states.
Yep, he's
So-
been to
Wow.
19 states. So we have this state sticker map on the side of our RV where we stick the states that we've been to, and we've been to all 50 states and many of them multiple times. But then we thought, what a fun thing. I found on Amazon these little paw stickers. So I stick the
Cute.
paw on the state sticker map for the states that Sonny's been to as well.
19 states in 2 years is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Any tips and tricks for, traveling that often with a puppy, not just a dog, but a puppy? He was a baby for a lot of that.
Well, I do want to say that our first camping trip with him, attempted camping trip, I should say, because we didn't even end up staying a night, was a disaster. And he was we booked a state park, pretty close to home just to get him used to traveling and in the camper. And
Sure.
I don't know if he hated the camper, if he was just having a bad day, or we don't know what it was, but he was not happy, was he? And
Therefore we weren't.
they were not happy. It was pretty stressful. And so we brought him home, and then we were worried, thinking he's not going to be a camping dog, didn't we?
Yeah.
But then he got a bit older and got used to things, and then we took him. How old was he when we took him on that big trip to Florida? Wasn't he like 7 months old?
7 or 8 months. Yeah.
That's not even 7, 6, 7
Okay.
months old when we took him on a 8,500-mile road trip, but we were supposed to go to the Florida Keys and back. But then, as RVers sometimes do, we're like, well, let's just drop and visit our friends over in California and Arizona, because that's on the way back to Colorado from Florida, isn't it?
Sure.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit out of the way, but it works.
Depends on
Well,
who's
it's still
snapping,
cold and
yeah.
snowy here. I was like, I'm in no hurry to get back. And, we'd rented an RV from a friend, a bigger one in Class C. And I think those of us that follow us would know we had the little casita camper. But I want to finish answering your question about traveling with pets.
We've got tips in our RV Hacks book about traveling with pets.
We do have tips. Well,
Well,
we'll
there
share
you
some,
go.
we'll share some tips. We'll share some tips before we wrap up. But I think just get them. Like kids, they're so adaptable, on the environment. But you really do need to think about their needs, and stopping for plenty of bathroom breaks. And I think one really great tip that actually came from our friend Juliet, who's a dog trainer, and that day of the attempted disastrous camping trip, we went to meet her. It was in August a couple of years ago. Sonny was like 3 months old, and one of her tips, because she's a dog trainer, and this one's in the RV Hacks book, is stop somewhere at a rest area before you get to your campground. So, let's say you're due to get to your campground at 3 o'clock, stop at 2:30. It might seem counterintuitive, a little bit before you get there, to give them a chance to run around, have a potty break, and just get them that, because then when you get to the campground, they're not going to be so antsy, and you can just focus on getting the set up. It's same with kids. I think it's really good for kids to do that too. For anyone, just get out, stretch your legs, have a bathroom break, even have a snack or whatever you need to do, so that when you get to the campground, you can just focus on the task at hand. Because I think many RVers have a checklist of what you need to do when you get set up at a campsite, and make sure you don't miss things. And when you're stressed and the kids or the pets are all, it's easy to miss things. So I think it's just less stressful for everybody. So
that makes a lot of sense. Get that anxious energy out somewhere that isn't where you're going to be staying, and then save some of that calm for, like you said, setting up a campsite isn't, the quickest, easiest process. You don't want to miss any of your checklist. I know that's an important part of it. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so we brought out the RV Hacks book. Let's talk about it. I don't think that book was out the last time that we spoke to you. So July 2021, I want to say, RV Hacks came out.
Yeah, July 2021 came out, and it's been a huge success. It's been actually, it's had over 25,000 copies sold now, over 1,000 reviews on Amazon, and people are really liking it. And we came out with it because we wanted to have a book that a more broad audience could enjoy, because our first book was more focused on people that were doing extended RV travel, and this was one that's just filled with hacks to make your life easier and more fun. So, and
you can just pick it up and flick. You don't have to read it from beginning to end, and it's divided
Sure.
up into 6 chapters, like driving and RV repairs and maintenance, campgrounds, kids and pets, organization and storage. And you can just literally, you can read the whole thing, or you can just flip it open randomly and just go and just get a hack a day keeps the RV technician away. Oh, I just made that up. I should put that on.
I love that.
New
Guy.
subtitle.
That'll be the sequel.
But it's amazing how many tips, you know, that we've learned on the road, because as RVers, you know, we're all learning from each other, you know, and we never stop learning. It doesn't matter how long you've been RVing. I think if you think you know it all is when you get into trouble, and it's really important,
Yes.
to, you know, to stay humble and aware that we all are learning, and we all learn from each other. And we've learned so many of these hacks from people that we've met on the road, and things we've seen walking around the campground, or through problems that we've experienced and then had to come up with a solution to. And a lot of our RV friends and community that even contributed their own hacks and stories to the book. So, you know, it's really, that's the other thing that we're really, this is not all just from us. This is like a wonderful collection. Yeah.
We always say our favorite thing about the RV community is how much they support each other. Like, and we talk to, you know, customers obviously that are in stressful times, making claims, having issues. And so many times they're like, well, I checked with my neighbor, he helped me with this and it still didn't work. Or, you know, I got your information from my neighbor who used you for a claim. And I just love that that we even use the word neighbor when maybe you were there for one night. But I think there's such a sense of community in an RV campground and anywhere that you're RVing, that everyone's just so helpful and willing to share, because there's a lot to learn when you're an RVer. There are a lot of mistakes that other people have made before you. So maybe
sometimes you inherit them when you buy a used RV, right? You can inherit
that as well.
Problems with an RV from somebody that didn't take the proper care. And that's why, you know, so many people will ask, well, what's the best RV? So well, there isn't really an answer there. You know, it's because it really depends on how well it's been taken care of. And you could have a top of the line RV that wasn't well taken care of, and a more, you know, entry level or lower cost RV that was pristinely maintained and taken care of. And that could end up being a better rig for you, because it's more, you know, it depends. When we,
but no RVs is faultless. That's they all come
not even new ones.
Not even new ones.
Not even new
ones.
ones.
Not like new. So
you know,
things break.
But to your point, Stacey, you know, when we headed down to Florida on that big trip, and we had a little casita, a little 17-foot casita camper. And then when we realized we were going to, which is cute little thing, and we could tell with the Jeep and everything, and we loved it. But then when we knew we were doing this big trip to Florida Keys and taking the dog, and we still work, and it was going to be a really long trip. And we're like, this is going to be too small. So that's when we thought, well, our friend has this Class C 25-foot motorhome, and it was in storage in Denver. And we said, it's just sitting there. It says, not good for it in the winter. Do you want to consider renting it to us? And that would give us a chance to think about if that might be a good rig for us before, you know, we potentially bought one. And he said, sure. So we did that. And, you know, we had some issues along the way. And, you know, luckily that had an extended warranty to cover it. Marc ended up fixing quite a few things himself. And to point that neighbor, we won't go into the graphic detail, but let's just say it was a plumbing issue underneath the RV, and it was related to a certain color holding tank. And Marc had to, he jumped under the RV to fix it, because, you know, was right around December, I think, hard to get in to get it looked at. And the neighbor next to us, his name was Joe, right?
Yeah.
Joe jumps out.
Joe was a plumber. He was a 30-year plumber. He was more than happy.
He was so excited. He was so excited. Marc's like, mate, he said, I don't think you want to help me with this job. No, I'm a plumber. I love this stuff. And we're like, do you think you want to get some gloves? And he's like, no, I'm good. Okay. So Joe's there underneath the rig and helping Marc do a little DIY fix. But then coming back, you know, we had no generator. The generator went out. And that was definitely a bigger issue. And luckily we were able to get that into a shop, and it was repaired and, you know, largely covered by the extended warranty. And, you know, that just. Yeah,
about 3/4 of that cost was covered by the warranty.
And it was just one of those things that, you know, when you're broken down, we were broken down on the side of the road with that, but we have been in the past, and, you know, it's so stressful. You're on the side of the road and traffic's whizzing by, and you're like, how can I get safe? How can someone help me? And then your brain's like, what is the problem? And what's it going to cost me? And I'm like, oh, you have to, you know.
That's what's great about a warranty, is it helps reduce at least one of those stressors, right? It might be still a stressful situation, but if you at least know that your costs will be managed by having an extended warranty, then that's a huge weight off your shoulders. And that's why we've had an extended warranty on all but one of our RVs over the years. The only one we didn't have was one that was not eligible for a warranty.
Our 1999 Country Coach.
And,
We wished we had one of those.
well, we
We
wished.
had a lot of repairs.
We spent
Yes.
20,000 on repairs on that.
It had
Wow.
over 1,000 miles, so it wasn't eligible. You know, that's the cutoff.
Right.
Miles, but we knew that. You know, we bought it cheap.
Yeah, we knew we were taking a gamble.
That's the risk you take, right? You can't have it all your way. You pay for it one way or the other, and we paid for it, you know, later. Other, not upfront.
Yeah.
But you know, it's all been good learning. This is part of the learning, right, of RV life, is you're constantly learning. So
Right. And you alluded to even the new ones, whether you're buying new or used, you know, RVs, they just break down. It's a lot of pressure and impact to drive something down the road that has a refrigerator and air conditioning and all of these wonderful appliances that make RVing amazing. Trust us, they break down, and we see and we talk to customers who are in that side of the road, or, hey, I just set up my campsite and now my, you know, slide won't go out, or I'm trying to leave my campsite and the slide won't go in. And there's just so many things that can go wrong. And so, you know, the extended warranty is a really good way we call it peace of mind, to know, like you said, that at least the financial stress is, you know, something that we can take that burden away. Breakdowns are never going to be fun, and we can't make them not happen, but having a warranty is a really good way to at least know that somebody's in your corner and is going to help you, you know, walk through that process of what do I do next, or, you know, how much will this cost? Especially
when you're a newbie, and we've seen a lot more in the last few years, a lot more newbie as people are discovering RVing, and people that aren't necessarily handy, you know.
Right.
Like we meet a lot of people that are super handy, do a lot of DIY, and Marc does as well. But there are a lot of people that don't at all, and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start and how to get it fixed. So, you know, it's always, we always say it's a not a one size fits all. You know, as you know, it's got the right person and situation, and what's the right fit for you. You know, in your rig, the whole thing, and
yeah. Well, I will take a quick pause to say thank you to everybody that's on. If you have any questions about RV Love, about extended warranties, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I'll check those in just a moment. There should also be a pinned comment that has a link to rvlove.com, but also to Wholesale Warranties. So if you are interested in getting an extended warranty quote, definitely use that link. We'd love to help you out. And absolutely go to rvlove.com, because I know there's something there that you don't know now, and they can save you that time and money and stress with that RV hack that you're missing. Okay, so let's jump back into kind of a super exciting upcoming travel thing that you guys are doing, which is the annular eclipse. This is happening in the solar eclipse in October, is that correct?
It is, and I know a lot of people are talking about the total solar eclipse coming up in April 2024, and we were at that total solar eclipse in Oregon in 2017, and it was actually one of the highlights of our RV travels that we hadn't even planned. It was somebody had commented on our YouTube video, one of our videos, saying, "Oh, I assume you guys are going to the solar eclipse." I'm like, "What?" And so I Googled it, and I'm like, "Oh, there's something really cool happening." And a friend of ours is a science writer and into astronomy, and they were there and all excited. So we went and we had a fantastic time, and we did there's a little 4-minute summary video in it that's fun to give you a feel of what it's like to be there. And so anyway, we'd heard about the total solar eclipse coming up in April, but then we only just recently, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, learned about an annular solar eclipse, and it's called a once in a generation, because it's going to be another, I think, 30 years or so before the next one. Okay. It's called the Ring of Fire eclipse. So the other one totally obscures the sun, and this one will have like exactly as it sounds, Ring of Fire. We're almost, but awesome. There's this ring around it, and you know, as RVers, one of the things we're always looking for is fun events to go and hang out with our community and to do things. And you can do that RV shows and RV rallies, but this is a festival. It's called Eclipse Fest 23, and it's happening 20 miles from Crater Lake in Oregon, which is one of our favorite national parks. Beautiful. By the way, if you have a big rig, they've their campground it's booked out for this event, but just as a side note, Crater Lake Campground, I know a lot of RVers are worried about the size.
They
It's like
do
60
have
bucks for
some,
bites.
not all, but some, they definitely have some that can handle
Big rigs, yeah. So it was a nice campground. We've stayed there. And so anyway, we found out about this Eclipse Fest event, and they've got this solar eclipse viewing party and vendors, and Smash Mouth is performing, doing a live concert on Saturday night. And it's a very RV camping friendly event. So they're expecting thousands of RVers. So we're going to be there. And we're really excited about it. Yeah, it's gonna be, and there's a lot to do in that area too. And that's one of our favorite parts of the country. So that's not the only place the eclipse happens, of course. You know, you can check the eclipse path. You can go to the website eclipsefest23.com, and then you'll see there's a map, and it shows you where the path of the annular solar eclipse is traveling. Whenever you're trying to experience a solar eclipse of any kind, you want to make sure you're as in the path of totality, or in this case, annularity. I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, me too.
To have the best experience. You might think, oh, I'm 99%, I'm close enough, but it really is quite different when you're in the path of totality and annularity.
Especially for a total.
Yeah. So you know, that's traveling across the country. And I think the one next year is going to be a lot for people on the East Coast. It's going to have a lot of presence on the East. This one has more of a presence on the West. So those that are in the western part of the country, this is kind of their solar eclipse, you know, because they may not travel away to the East in 24. But yeah, I just was reading an article this morning about it in Outdoor magazine too, just talking about the annular solar eclipse, because it's people are starting to talk about that one a lot more now. So yeah, we're really excited by this event, because we'll be able to camp on site, and you know, just everything's right there. The other one we went to in 2017, there were things happening all around town, but it was difficult to get there because you had to leave the camping field and then get back in. It was so crowded that the lines getting back in were difficult. So what I like about this one is everything's all in one place. Everything's happening Eclipse Fest 23 on one field with all the activities. RV companies will be there too. So
RV companies and lots of food vendors and a concert and festival. And that's what's so great about RVing, right? This is one of those things that's so great as an RVer, not as a hotel traveler, because you can actually be fully immersed on site for multiple days, and you can't do that without an RV. And
the RV parks and hotels around the area already booked out. So, you know, people who knew about it booked in long ago. It's kind of, it's out in a pretty remote rural area. So fantastic for dark sky night viewing opportunities.
Yes.
And because it's not near the coast, the visibility should be a lot better too, because anytime you're near the coast, there's too much haze that'll affect the visibility. But, you know, fingers crossed, Mother Nature's in control, but we're hoping we have as good weather and experience as we did last time. But it's going to be a fun time no matter what.
Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't done an eclipse, but I have been camping in a dark sky, just tent camping, but out in Anza Borrego. And hitting those dark sky cities is just incredible. You have no idea the light pollution that you experience, especially, I mean, we're in San Diego, so very populated, but getting out there and just really being able to see is incredible. Have you guys done, you know, much other dark sky camping?
Accidentally, we have. Remember in Kansas that time?
Yeah, just, you know, so much of it is it's timing too, because you know, if it's a full moon and the moon's out, it's not as dark as it normally. So it's when you have to have all the planets aligned, literally, I guess. But it's when you travel in RV, we often did find ourselves in more rural areas, and so yes, we've had some amazing dark sky experiences. And the one Julie was speaking of was a rest stop in Kansas shortly before the Colorado border, and we stopped there.
Totally unplanned, random.
Yeah, but it was among the best night skies we'd ever seen, because it was just all perfect elements in every way.
And it was one of those rest stops. Not all rest stops allow you to stay overnight, but this one you could. It's about 7. If you're looking for this, anyone listening, if you're coming east heading west, it's on the right side of the road, and it's about 7 miles before the Colorado border, from, if my memory serves me correctly. And we stayed there the night and stepped out of the RV, and Mark's like, "Oh my God, Julie, come out and look at this." And I went out, and it was like this dark ink sky, and it looked, somebody had just thrown glitter all over it. And it was just, there was no light pollution because it was so remote, and it was just beautiful. And, you know, I didn't even know that dark sky thing was a thing about recent years, and there's a whole thing now where you can go look for the dark sky towns. There's a whole dark sky association, and you can find what towns around the world are designated as dark sky towns and go look at them. And a lot of those towns are very cognizant of even the residents, and the street lights having the certain kinds of lights that will really just help keep it better visibility. So we're starting to get into that. Actually, it's really fun.
I love that. It's another one of those perspective things, right? Like if you're a hotel traveler, and nothing wrong with that, but those little things that you just would never experience unless you're in an RV and you happen to stop at that rest stop and you see something you never would have seen otherwise.
Yeah, or firefly, like that's another thing. Like, in Colorado, we don't have them so much, but out east, there's a lot of areas have lightning bugs or fireflies, what they call it. And so if you're out, that's not something else happening.
We'll tell them where we were.
But one of we've had two really magical ones. One was at Barrel Oak Winery, Harvest Host in Virginia, but also
we were parked by the grapevines, and there were and all the fireflies were lighting the vines right outside of our RV.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then it was a great dog friendly place. You could go in. They had beer and wine and pizza, and it was just bands.
We've had a few great experiences with those where you're just out.
The state park.
State park is what I was thinking. Julie just sat there, laid there for hours, just staring.
Yeah, just opened the window till 2 a.m, and it was again totally unplanned and random, right? And that is one of the great things about RV travel, is that some of it's funny because we just had our 9 years of RVing, and I've been jotting down what are the memories and experiences that really, it's so hard when people say, where's the best place you've been? I can't answer the question, but I can tell you some of my favorite memories and places, and it's hard to pick just one, but jotting that down, and that fireflies experience Mark talked about, it was right there, and we couldn't have planned it. I mean, I would recommend somebody, hey, go to this campground at this time of year and stay in this campsite, but I don't even remember what it was now, but it was Shenandoah River State Park. I don't remember our campsite number, but it was just right there, and I've never seen anything like it. It was amazing. It was incredible. And just the cost of a night in a state park, and that we pay a lot of money to go and have experiences, and sometimes the best ones are the overnight free stop and campers at the rest stop. They're the ones it don't cost you anything, and you just have to be present in the moment and just appreciate it. Yeah,
I love that. I mean, we talk to RVers all day, every day, and I feel like most of those, my favorite memories, aren't the big planned parts of RVing, but those little moments that you just wouldn't get otherwise, and you can never prepare for them. But like you said, also RVing gives you a good opportunity to kind of slow down when you travel too, and have those moments just like at night in the campground. And all of the activities that you book for the day are also amazing, not to take anything away from that part of travel, but being able to kind of slow down and have your home base and be really comfortable and notice things you may not have otherwise noticed, because you are in such just a calming and wonderful way to travel.
And it feels like the pace of the world is just picking up so much, with technology, and everything is going so fast. And I think sometimes, even we have to pull ourselves back and just go slow down. And that's one of the things that I think we really appreciate, that surprised us about having a home base now and doing part-time travel. And because we've been traveling, for so long, we really are drawn to much slower travel now and staying and immersing. So last year when we went to Florida, we did 19 states in 3.5 months and 8,500 miles. And we were in a little class of rig. And then, so this last winter we said, slow it down a bit. And we spend most of the time in the Palm Springs area for 2 months. And
2 months.
Wonderful.
One town.
So it was, same RV, but a different experience. And we took our Jeep this time. We didn't do it on the last time. So that way we could keep the RV parked and then just go around exploring in our vehicles. So, just having the flexibility to mix it up is really great, depending on what your travel style and destinations are.
Yeah, I love that. So what's next? What's the next big travel plan?
Oh gosh,
just a couple small local ones until that big one in October when we go up for Oregon for that.
We're doing local
eclipse event.
Local Colorado is such a, I think a lot of people are guilty of this. You live somewhere your whole life and you won't necessarily go visit things there's so many great things within a 2 or 3 hour drive. And so now we're just like, actually, there's a lot of places within a 2 or 3 hour drive we haven't been to yet, or we want to spend more time. So we're going away maybe tonight or tomorrow. We haven't figured out yet. And we're going to go and spend a couple of days over near a town called Gunnison. It's got this big, beautiful reservoir, Blue Mesa Reservoir. It's really pretty. So we're going to spend a couple of days there, and then just a little getaway to unplug for a bit. But lots of little short trips.
Yeah, we're definitely guilty of that. I mean, San Diego, sometimes it's weird to think like I live in a huge travel destination for people that yeah, you really can't beat it, but there's so much around it, so much in Southern California that you don't really take advantage of when you do live here, and it just becomes your normal. Our owner Jeff is actually renting an RV and going out to a couple of local places this weekend just to kind of get that experience and go to those places that we don't take advantage of as much as we should. So
it's more immersive for sure, more immersive to do that. And I love when you can find a really cool place, especially if you can find a park there and say, you know what, I'm going to have dinner here. here. And we did that on the 14th of February, actually. We were up Highway 1 and we drove to Big Sur, which was maybe not even half an hour from our campground. And it was beautiful. It was actually a really windy day. It was really windy and quite cold. So the weather wasn't ideal, but we got and parked right near Big Sur at the Bixby Bridge there, that iconic scene that everybody knows.
Beautiful.
And then we saw this wedding party come in. Actually, we're taking all these photos and they're trying to shelter from the rain. And but 2 minutes after they left, the sun came out and the clouds parted, and we're like, man, this is so perfect right now because the light was beautiful. And we ran out with the tripod and the phone and the timer and quickly got some shots. Blew everything over again. But we just decided, let's just stay here and cook dinner. And we hung out there for a couple of hours and watched everyone coming to see this really iconic scenic place, and drove back to the campground. But it was nice to just sit there and have a meal and glass of wine and celebrate Valentine's Day.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go back to a few key points. So RV hacks, where do we buy it?
Everywhere the books are sold. So if you want the books, you can go to our website, rvlove.com/RV hacks, and it's at Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Books A Million. You can get it in digital format, Apple Books, Google Play, anywhere books are sold. So that's really easy to find.
Amazing.
I have a few hacks if someone.
And then the first book is more about full-time RVing, which is also something that you should do a lot of research before you dive into. So living the RV life.
Please do your research. It's a big life decision, and it's a big investment, and you want to set yourself up for success so that you don't. There are enough stresses in the RV life that you have to deal with on a daily basis. So the more you can be prepared for, the more you'll enjoy yourself, and reduce the chances of being stuck on the side of the road with an issue. You can prevent a lot of that stuff.
A lot of it is
significantly
reduced.
Absolutely. We have a copy of both books in the office. We reference them all the time. It is such a great insight into RVing and who we talk to every day. So if you are an RVer now, if you're looking to RV, please check out those books. Please check out rvlove.com. I know you won't be disappointed. We have worked with you for several years, and we're so happy to do so. Such wonderful information that you provide, and wonderful people. I love talking to you. So thank you so much for being here.
Too, Stacey. I can't believe it's been this long.
Again. Thanks so much for having us on today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it won't be another 3 years until we do this again. Maybe we can talk to you after the eclipse and hear all about that trip.
Yeah, that'll be great fun.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you. If you have any questions, I am sure Mark and Julie would be happy to check back later on the replay and answer any questions. We'll look at them as well. Thanks everybody for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.